See Mr. Naoki Ito joining in our seminar. Thank you so very much. We have here keynote speaker, guest of honor, Dr. Atiur Rahman, former governor of Bangladesh Bank and advisor BBF. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. And we have here investors from different countries, and we have our BBF global team. They attended from entire globe, USA, UK, and many part of the world they have attended. So with this note, I would like to invite Mr. Ariful Haq, Director, BIDA, will present his, yeah. Mr.
Thank
Ariful
you,
Haq.
am I audible?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're audible.
Hello. Can you share my presentation so that I can?
Sure. Mr. Dilwar, please give him.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, you have the access.
Yeah.
You can share.
Thank you, sir. So thank you very much. Can you see my presentation, sir?
Yes, we can see.
We can.
Thank you, sir. Before beginning my presentation from BIDA's end, and my chairman will be speaking on that behalf, we would like to offer our gratitude to the audience at large for whom this country is at this moment, and our heartfelt gratitude to the NRBs that they have contributed to the development of this country. So I'll be very focused on my presentation because today we want to hear from them rather than speaking on our part. So, Honorable Minister of Planning, M.A. Mannan MP, sir, Chief guest of this today's event, Executive Chairman BIDA, Mr. Shirajul Islam, sir, His Excellency the Ambassador of Japan, Naoki ITO, and our all-revered Dr. Atiur Rahman, former Governor of Bangladesh Bank. So, sir, to begin with, I will be very focusing on 2 or 3 issues because, sir, everybody will be speaking. So, we'll be sharing with you what is the investment climate of this country, what is our visions, and how the private sector is supporting us in developing this country, and what reforms that BIDA and as a whole the country is undertaking to make the doing business much more simpler and easier for everybody, sir. So this is our vision, everybody, but we want to go by 2021, 2030, 2041, 2071, and finally 2100. These are visions, these are dreams, and we believe with the support of you all, this dream can be materialized, and we are doing that. The nation, the courage of the nation, and the spirit and the resilience of this country has proven that we can attain what we can dream. So these are the attainment that we have done within this period of time with the true leadership for our Honorable Prime Minister and as a whole the country. How we have risen from our poverty, our GDP, our trade GDP ratio, our manufacturing in GDP. In every parameters, you will see that this country, our country, is sustaining a steep growth. And we believe that in the coming days, this will be continued. So this is the FDI inflow. So you can see that from 2011, 2019, the growth is sustained, the growth is steep, and it is growing. Unlike many other countries, our FDI is growing on a persistent basis. And these are mostly in the manufacturing sector, unlike many other countries where investment come in the energy or in the mining sectors. This is the FDI stock you can see. In 2010, our FDI was only $6 billion, but now it is $17 or $18 billion. So it's growing. The major part of this stock is the investment for FDI has been come to Bangladesh is continuing in the economy rather than it's going out. That is the resilience of the economy. So this is the plan. Our planning minister sir will be speaking on the issue, but you see how we are planning to go with in the coming days, from 2021, 2041, in this 20 years of time, where we want to take our country in terms of GDP, in terms of per capita. You can see by 2041 our per capita will be 12,500. In our export by 2041, we are planning to have $300 billion of export. In 2041, our investment to GDP gap will be 47%. So you see how we are planning to go with all these things. These are planning, these are figures, but we firmly believe that this thing can be attained by everybody's effort. So how the private sector is supporting in Bangladesh? As you know, it's private sector-led economy. The government is supporting the system, and it is being driven by the private sector. It's a thriving private sector. You can see among the private investment, 40% is coming from the private sector. 55% is energy generated by the private sector. Employment, they have created 57 million of job, and remittance, as you know, that you are sending $40 billion roughly to our economy. And in terms of major investment need, you see, there will be $350 billion of investment gap in the infrastructure. That is the gap, but that is also opportunity. There will be $72 billion investment in the energy sector, 37 billion in the water sector, and 91 billion in the transport sector. So these are the sectors which are open for investment. As you know, that the investment, our investment climate, or this policy of Bangladesh is most liberal in Southeast. Almost all sectors are open without any capping in terms of amount or percentage. This is a study by the OFTech, which was presented in the UNESCO. You can see in the 2021 which sector will be have the FDA potentials. It can be biotechnology, renewable energy, semiconductors, and engines, healthcare, manufacturing. The reason of this showing this, Bangladesh has the potential to, have this investment in Bangladesh. So you have the chance to take opportunity in Bangladesh. So I'll be sharing now with you some data that you have seen our video in our video presentation, the sectoral, how the sectors are doing. Now I'll be sharing these statistics to our available data. Our agricultural sector is around $38 billion of the market size, and it is growing in 9.6%. The manufacturing sector is around $57 billion. It's growing roughly on 19%. In the service sector, it is $58 billion market size with 12.7% growth. In the light engineering sector, although market size is very small, $3 billion, but the horizontal expansion of this sector having 30% growth is huge. Same food processing and the other industry. You see the growth in the growth pattern, the opportunity is skyrocketing in this country. Just to share with few statistical, the sectoral performance, pharmaceutical industry meets 97% of the domestic demand, which is 2% of the GDP, and the domestic market size is $3 billion. And by 2025, it will be $6 billion, and we have the potential of, that. In the healthcare services, it is growing on 5%, and there's some market size around $7 billion. In terms of medical equipment, it is growing on 14.6%, and we do import roughly around $420 million of goods, which can be produced in the country. And that is a huge market potential. In terms of ICT, IT-enabled services, better than us, it's skyrocketing. In the agro and food processing industry, we employ around 40% of the labor and which contributes 14% of the GDP. Export earning is $1.4 billion, but again, then it has a high potentials in the sector opportunity in terms of diversification, in terms of export potentials. Same for jutes, same in the leather sector. Although leather is a traditional sector, but it is contributing 6% to the GDP, and it is employing around 850,000 people directly and indirectly. We had a $2 billion domestic market and export potential as well. The interesting thing, it is growing on a 10% per annum. So it has also the potentials to take investment and promote the goods. As we are talking about the branding of Bangladesh, so branding leather and footwear and other products will be a huge area to work into. In terms of light engineering sector, we have shared that the market size is around $10 billion, and we have the CAGR of 30% since 2014 in the domestic industry. Same in the electronics sector. I think you know that by this time Samsung has invested in Bangladesh, and we are producing the flagship, the brand of Samsung in this country, and they are showing high interest in doing in the other segments of this product. In the plastic sector, same potential. The domestic market size is $3 billion, and horizontally there are 5,000 factories working, which is employing around 1.2 billion people. And at this moment we're exporting 120 million, but again, then it has the huge potential to go with. Same the automobile sector. You see in the video that we are producing our cars, and in the coming days, it is a huge industry. In the shipbuilding, we are doing in the low segment of the shipbuilding, and we are on one of the good producers in the world. So that is also, and by 2025, our export target in the shipbuilding sector is around $4 billion. Same in the ceramic sector. So, sir, these are the sectors. I'll be closing my presentation on certain sector, what reforms this government has undertaken and BIDA as in particular is doing. We have introduced one-stop services. My executive chairman, sir, will be speaking on the area. We have targeted to make your business more simple, more easy, and to the best of the class. As we are following this moment, we have identified 150 services, client service of 34 agencies, which will be offered through our one-stop services. It is fully online. It will be cloud-based and it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. That service we are currently here, we are offering 41 services for 11 agencies. I think there are, you can see in the bottom which services we are offering from multiple agencies. And in the coming days, year or two, you will see a drastic change in the service delivery of these agencies, of how we are trying to match the global standard. So to make things very simple for you. Reforms in the doing business, Sir will be speaking also in this area, that how we are doing, although we are not in a very good position at this moment, but we have taken from this topmost level of our administration, massive reforms in the ease of doing business in the 11th area that have been identified globally. And in the last year, we are among the 20th largest, the major reforms, reforming country among the other countries. So we have, just to lay down what we have done, in particular in general basis, in the starting of business, when you have to start the business, we have reduced the cost and procedures, redundancy in the whole process to make the things simpler, so that, and less process oriented, so that things can be easy for you, as well as the digital service can be given to you. In terms of electricity, in terms of getting credit, these are the indicators where we have made major reforms. In the coming days, you will see in the delivery end of the services how reforms have been taken. In the registering property, which was earlier a critical area, we have reduced many reforms. We have reduced the redundancy in terms of stamp duty and other procedures. So in the coming days, you will see how change has been taken place. So just to quantify on certain areas, in starting a business, total cost of starting a business has been reduced to 7.1% from 8.7%. Although this is a very nominal change, but this is a change, and this change will be sustained and continued in the coming days. In terms of dealing of construction permit, if you want to start a building here, the cost has been changed. The procedure has been written down. We have reduced the total cost of getting electricity by 200%. Total cost contribution, tax contribution rate in terms of profit has been reduced to 32% from 33%. And in the coming days, this will be much simpler, and it will be also be reduced. In terms of resolving insolvency, the recovery rate has also been increased. Thank you from our end, and we'll be happy to respond, get your, if there is any question or answer. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. Amazing PPT. Hello.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arpil Haq, Director, BIDA, for presenting wonderful PPT. We have seen, very informative, and we came to know a lot of information. And as he very rightly said, that a lot of reforms are happening every day. And I'm sure BIDA is trying hard to make a lot of reforms. And I'm sure as ease of doing business index, we are coming up day by day, inshallah. So now, before I move on, the keynote speaker, Dr. Atir Rahman, I would like to just invite some of our BBF global team to speak in 2-3 minutes. First of all, I would like to invite Mr. Rafiq Khan from United States. Mr. Rafiq Khan.
Thank you.
CEO of BBF Global, yeah.
Thank you, my dear Chairman, Masude Khan. And my warmest greetings to all distinguished guests here. Time is short, so I would like to get to the point. About 1 year ago, a similar webinar, we were together with our Honorable Mr. Planning Minister, our Executive Chairman, and we and all BBF team was so encouraged by the positive words to promote Bangladesh, bring FDI, and many more. With that, we make a decision on that time that yes, we can do it, and BBF team can help BIDA and bring this. So that decisions, and with BIDA executive chairman's support and whole BIDA team support and tireless work from our friend Masude Khan. And today we are in a first meeting. This is just a beginning, I would say. Also, with that note, I would like to mention, I'll tell my practical experience because that's value more, I believe, rather than I talk further. I was encouraged by executive chairman's one-stop shops of BIDA service. So I thought, before I go to the people, why don't I try myself? So I did that. So from New York, with BIDA support, I was logged in and do my industry application through the one-stop service OSS, and everything was done smoothly, and I didn't have to go to Bangladesh. And that company is formed and is operational. So that's great. So any of our foreign investors and NRBs, whoever like to invest in Bangladesh, we are here with our experience. And I would like to mention here things that this investment, what I did, it is not only for me just making some profit and loss or benefits, it's for our children also. So we need to bring those children back to our country. So who are the future investors, our diaspora? So we need to encourage them. So when I engage, I believe that they will follow me, similar like other NRBs. So they are our future. So we are just a beginning. It's just a beginning of our journey. I believe that. So there's a lot more to come. And so here I have few requests and suggestions to our planning minister and BIDA executive chairman, that few small steps could make a big things, like some small privilege, just basic, that will not cost or any financially Bangladesh government. Like when we enter, we come, any NRB investors and come with any foreign investors to the Bangladesh in the airport, if we can get a VIP privilege and hotels in a discounted rate, hospitals, recognized hospitals where we can, some basic services, security services. So this will help. And also we need a training so that our BBF team can go further and with the trainings and with the BIDA's guidelines, so we can bring more foreign investors and showing that our beautiful country and bring the country to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rafiq Khan, CEO BBF Global USA. Now I'd like to call upon Mr. Sajjad Rashid, MD BBF Global. Very short, in 2-3 minutes. All right, Mr. Sajjad Rashid.
Please unmute yourself. Yes, you're good.
I would like to start by thanking Mr. Masude Khan, the chairman and founder of Better Bangladesh Foundation, for inviting me. Honorable Minister of Planning, Mr. M. A. Mannan MP, Executive Chairman, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, Mr. Shihajul Islam, His Excellency, Mr. Naoki ITO, Ambassador of Japan in Bangladesh, former Governor of Bangladesh Bank and Advisor of BBF, Dr. Atiur Rahman, including distinguished panelists, all BBF global leaders and potential foreign investors. I am Sheikh Sajjad Rashid, the Managing Director of BBF Global, is welcoming all of you to Investment Summit 2021, jointly organized by BIDA and BBF. Assalamu alaikum. Better Bangladesh Foundation is a non-profit think tank and development organization. Recently, BBF and BIDA signed on MOU to work together as a strategic partner for branding Bangladesh, as well as attracting more foreign investments in the country. The partnership is expected to leverage the BBF's strong global NRB networks for potential investments in agriculture, ICT, energy, power, education, pharmaceuticals, and healthcare, just to name a few. BBF, in partnership with BIDA, will continue to organize webinars, roadshows, seminars, symposiums to create a positive image of Bangladesh in order to attract and encourage foreign investments. In order to attract FDI, we must have long-term and short-term goals by highlighting our strengths and opportunities while addressing any weaknesses with a proper mitigation plan. As a matter of fact, bringing foreign investments was and is never easy for any countries. It has to be win-win for foreign investors. We need to gain the confidence of foreign investors by giving them clear roadmap of FDI and subsequent return on investment to their origin countries. And often enough, many potential investment opportunities eventually got failed or backed out due to non-agreement on some minor issues. We must have a strong negotiators who can actually work it out to make a deal and help the investors from FDI initiation throughout execution. The overall development that has taken place in Bangladesh in the last 10 years is just unprecedented and very appealing to the foreign investors. Our Bangladesh is a role model for many developed as well as emerging countries. Our sincere gratitude goes to the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her administration for the unprecedented leadership and commitment. We also would like to thank Honorable ICT Advisor Mr. Shojib Wajid Joy for the orchestration and transformation of digital Bangladesh. At last but not the least, BIDA and BBF are stronger together for greater interest of the country, inshallah. Let us convert every challenges into every opportunities. I look forward to hearing from the distinguished guests and the potential investors. Back to Masood Khan Bhai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sajjad Rashid, for your very lucid speech. Thank you so much once again. Now I would like to call upon Elijah Ibrahim for 2 minutes. Elijah Ibrahim, International Coordinator, BBF.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Masood Khan, Chairperson BBF. My salam and greetings to everybody, to the honorable VIPs, to the excellencies, to the members of BBF, to the members of BIDA, and I would like to start now. I would like to give a brief introduction now. I'm Elijah Ibrahim, International Coordinator, BBF. Earlier, we have signed an MOU with Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, BIDA, back on the 24th of February, 2021. Our country will definitely benefit, inshallah, and the entire structure will benefit. An honor indeed to be of support to BIDA as we are partners now. In 2020, we had organized a series of webinars where we talked about branding Bangladesh, uplifting the image of Bangladesh elsewhere in the world in a view to attracting foreign investment in Bangladesh. Our extremely vibrant BBF global team are trying their level best to support Bangladesh government and also its prime investment organization, BIDA. I humbly thank everybody in this summit, and especially Professor Masood Khan, Chairman BBF, for giving me the platform to speak. And I thank you all once again so very much. And that will be all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah Ibrahim, for your wonderful speech. Now, without prolonging my speech, I would like to just invite again Nadia Haq, who is Chief Coordinator, Thailand and Singapore. Nadia Haq.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
I can hear you very well.
Yes, I'll try to be as brief as possible because I know a lot of our members would like to speak as well. So I'd like to first thank you, Mr. Masood Khan, for letting me join this year's summit, Investment Summit, as organized by BBF and BIDA. And also I would like to convey my most humblest greeting to Honorable Minister of Planning, M.A. Mannan, and His Excellency Ambassador of Japan, Naoki ITO, and Mr. Sirajul Islam, and also Dr. Atikur Rahman, and to all our honorable Atiur Rahman. I'm sorry, Atiur Rahman, and all our honorable investors and guests today. So let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Nadia Haq, and I'm the Chief International Coordinator of BBF in Thailand and Singapore. And because BBF is in a very serious collaboration with BIDA, whose chairperson is our Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, I have full confidence that this partnership will make FDI into Bangladesh a much better experience than before. And I think in previous history, if you go back, FDI was not a very strong thing in Bangladesh, and it was mainly because of a downfall in consumption. So, but even with the challenges that we faced during COVID, Bangladesh has been very resilient in combating COVID-19. They're one of the first few countries that actually immunized its population, and also the local spending in the country grew more, mainly because people couldn't travel. As a international coordinator in Thailand, our target would be to bring more FDI from Thailand into sectors like medical, pharmaceutical, because we all know the medical industry in Thailand is very, it is a very high growth. And so the medical sector, the pharmaceutical, the tourism, the agriculture, and also in manufacturing, like textile and clothing and sustainable development. So we need to also discuss that what are the benefits of FDI into Bangladesh? Like how would foreigners actually benefit by doing a foreign direct investment into Bangladesh? Mainly because Bangladesh has a low cost setup. We've got cheap labor, and there's also going to be a transfer of skills. When two countries get together, or two economies get together in partnership, there's a transfer of skills, and there's a lot of advantages there. So transfer of skills and technology and knowledge. And there's also tax incentives, of course. Foreigners do have an advantage of getting some tax incentives. And with BBF's one-stop service, I think foreigners would really advantage, they would earn an advantage in doing foreign investment in Bangladesh. What I would just like to add one more thing is that BBF and BIDA, they stand together with the PM in not only facilitating foreign investment, but to be the best collaborator of a win-win situation between both economies. So I'm very confident that that would happen in the future.
Thank you.
But that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia Haq. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I would like to call upon Ms. Rehma Mia from United Kingdom. 2 minutes. Ms. Rehma Mia.
Sorry, Assalamu alaikum. And just want to say a welcome and give my salam to everybody, Your Excellencies and the distinguished ministers that are present. I won't go through all the names because I'll try and keep it short, but please, that's not a disrespect from me. It's with the highest honor that I, join you on this platform. I do think that the alliance between BBF and BIDA, which our Honorable CEO, Masud Bhai, you've done tremendous work in pushing this forward. For the last year, we have seen how hard, you have worked. And together with BIDA, I do believe that we can do so much more. And looking forward to when we have a little bit more relaxation of the travel bans that's both from the UK and Bangladesh. But however, in the interim, we are working very hard here, looking at things that could be done before COP26 and looking at various investment arenas that we hope to shortly come back to you with. Inshallah, I'm sure this is going to be a wonderful investment summit, and I look forward to receiving some of the presentations, if you don't mind, and to our next meeting. With that, I will say thank you very much for all those who are attending, and it's great to work together, and we are stronger together when we are together. So thank you very much, and back to our CEO, Mr. Masud Khan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The last speaker before keynote paper, Mr. Tanveer Mishuk, Managing Director, Nagot. I'm sure he is here. Mr. Tanveer Mishuk, Managing Director, Nagot. You know, everybody knows the Nagot very well. Yeah. So the founder and Managing Director, Nagot, Mr. Tanveer Mishuk. Mr. Tanveer is here?
I don't see him, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Now, then let me move on. Now, I would like to call upon today's keynote speaker, very eminent keynote speaker. And he is a former governor of Bangladesh Bank, Central Bank, and a very popular figure in the country, a very down to the earth, Dr. ITO Rahman, who is also advisor BBF. Proud to have Dr. ITO Rahman as keynote speaker today's session. Dr. ITO Rahman.
Thank you, Professor Masood. Today's chair of this session, the executive chair of BIDA, Mr. Islam, the chief guest, Honorable Planning Minister, Mr. Mannan, special guest, His Excellency Ambassador Naoki ITO, Japanese ambassador here in Dhaka, my fellow NRB colleagues from all around the world, and those who are hearing us from Bangladesh and abroad. I really want to congratulate both BBF and BIDA for making this possible. We have been dreaming of it, that the BBF and the BIDA will work together and project the positive image of Bangladesh, and also attract foreign direct investment, and also investments from our NRBs. So I thought this is a very, very auspicious auction that we are talking. Although, in the country itself, we are going through a very bad patch of pandemic, and many people are really in a very difficult mental condition. But yet, I thought our life moves on, and we are moving on. Thank you very much for organizing this. As you have heard from an excellent video prepared by BIDA, and also a fantastic presentation from Mr. Ariful Haq of BIDA, and a couple of presentations, words of welcome from various representatives of BBF from all around the world, that Bangladesh at 50 is an amazing story. This story is yet to be told. This is an unfolding story. And I thought we can tell this story only through programs like this. As you all know, in 1972, at its birth, Bangladesh, the size of the Bangladesh economy in the early days of 72 was only 6.3 billion. And by 72, it became $8 billion. And from there, we are now here 330 billion plus an economy. You can imagine what has been the expansion of this economy. So this has been made possible by the hardworking people of Bangladesh, and also by our hardworking NRBs from all around the world, under a very prudent and strong leadership from our Honorable Prime Minister, who has been, in fact, leading us from the front. And let me really compliment the presentation which have already been made by the BIDA colleagues and other colleagues. I will be really complimenting some of them. Maybe in one or two cases there could be overlap. Please excuse me for that. What are the factors that have made this possible, this turnaround of Bangladesh? Firstly, Bangladesh has been doing this, as I said, because of the fighting spirit which was instilled in the nation by the father of the nation back in 1971, and subsequently, that how we can confront the problems with our meager resources, and we can still move on. So that is the spirit of the war of liberation. I thought that is still really pushing us forward, and Bangladesh is moving forward mainly because of that fighting spirit. Bangladesh is also a regional hub, as you know. Bangladesh is sitting in the at the center of the China, India, ASEAN, a growth triangle, and it is already, also working with the sub-region through BBIN and motor vehicle agreement, through waterways, railways, airways. We are really having a very, very regional, sub-regional kind of compact. Bangladesh has been doing so well mainly because of the favorable macroeconomic policies with necessary intensives for faster growth, with inclusiveness. Inclusivity is one of the things that Bangladesh can brand off. The branding Bangladesh goes very well with financial inclusion and many other inclusive the policy that Bangladesh has been taken, and extending digital connectivity, promoting digital financial inclusion, and expanding social safety net have helped Bangladesh, maintain its economic dynamism despite many challenges like the pandemic or the climate change that we have been facing. Bangladesh, as has already been shown by Arif, that Bangladesh has got a young demographic structure, so we can tap on that, and we can really make best use of it. For that matter, we need to improve the skills, reskilling and upskilling, and if we can do that, Bangladesh will be moving forward. Bangladesh is also experiencing medium and advanced consumers, so-called MAC population, which is middle class and upper, which are tech savvy, which are brand savvy, and there is a huge demand for this kind of consumers, and foreign direct investors will be mostly interested in this kind of advanced and medium consumers. Bangladesh is also very strong in terms of gender balancing. The strong and rising female force has been our strength in Bangladesh economy. 38% of the women workforce are in the formal sector here in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh has also been really improving its availability of electricity. You remember back in 12 years back, Bangladesh was almost everyday load shedding, and it was in the darkness. Now Bangladesh is almost surplus in electricity, and also is expanding renewable energy facilities so that investors can go for green growth. There is a high return of the capital in Bangladesh. In fact, I remember when I was a governor, there was a hartal, or the general strike, and I went to a program in one of the hotels in Gulshan, and I found hundreds of foreign investors there. I said, "What the hell? How could you come here on a hartal day, on a general strike day?" They said, despite all this, Bangladesh is a very good destination for investment because we can get more than 24% of our return from the capital, which is not possible from any other country. So high return from capital, despite all the odds, is another reason Bangladesh has been doing it so well. And Bangladesh could be doing all this because of the continuity of the government with policy consistency that we are maintaining here in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is lucky to have a strong leader, who has been containing, very fast, steadfastly the religious radicalism and providing social, stability and peace, and which is very important. And Bangladesh has a culture which is very welcoming to the foreigners. And there has been a phenomenal change in Bangladesh in our farm sector, particularly agriculture sector, which has become very modern, diversified, and complementing non-farm incomes. We have a very strong microfinance institutions in Bangladesh, and all these have been really working for growth from below. That is a strength of Bangladesh, and we have been benefiting from the phenomenal growth of the remittance, thanks to our NRB friends here. Over the last 12 years, you will be seeing this. The Bangladesh has been really experiencing this growth in remittance. Back, if you compare it to 1975, remittance in Bangladesh has increased 285 times, and export increased around this time 133 times. So these remittance, export, and digital transformation and infrastructure growth, these are the factors which are really taking Bangladesh forward. And the mega infrastructures that we have started, the Padma Bridge, thanks to Japan, our metro rails, our Matarbari, our Mireshwarai, the Bangabandhu Park, if all this materialize, these will be game changers. And because these are growth multipliers, these are employment multipliers. So Bangladesh is right on its way to become a prosperous country from ashes. It started from ashes and is becoming a prosperity, is going to prosperity. So this has really led to a lot of social progress, and which has already been argued by Arif. So I don't want to go into that. Just want to give you one figure. Back in 72, an eligible couple would have 6 children. Now they have 2. So that gives you how much wise Bangabandhu was. He gave a lot of emphasis on family control, family planning, and also gave a lot of support for agriculture and food security. And both of them are really giving us the benefits that this poverty has gone down and inflation is under control. Food production has increased 4 times, and 60% of the income coming from the non-farm sector, and education and healthcare. The quantities have increased, but we need to work on the quality. We have done so well in the primary level, the health sector, but the tertiary and meso level, we need to really care more. That's why Bangladesh's success has been lauded by the world leaders. The Japanese Prime Minister Suga Yasuda said Bangladesh is a very attractive destination for Japanese business community. Our economic relations will make a further leap forward in the years to come. So has been praising by Joe Biden. He said Bangladesh is an example economic progress and a country of great hope and opportunity. I also applaud Bangladesh commitment on climate change. The UN Secretary General, the Indian Prime Minister, and all of them have been equally lavish in terms of praising Bangladesh. Even the journalists have been so appreciative of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a running bull case, said Mike Bird of the Wall Street Journal, and Nicholas Kristof, the New York Times. He said Bangladesh invested in its most underutilized assets, its poor, with a focus on the most marginalized and least productive, because that's where the highest return would be. And he was bold enough to say that if you want to see how poverty is eradicated, look at Bangladesh. So that's the kind of accolades we're getting from all over the world. Despite prolonged pandemic, the recent survey by the Reuters among 500 top economists of the world, they say that the global economy will be turning around by the end of this year, mainly because of the ample liquidity, unprecedented budgetary and incentives, speedy vaccination, and improved health measures, change of guards in the US administration and its positive policy moves for climate action and globalization. So at this, all of them say that all this will upgrade global growth rate to 5.9% this year from the early projection of 5.3% in January, as 44 of the developed and the developing countries will post better growth. This means our export sector, the demand is coming from the developed countries, particularly the US, UK, and the European Union. If the growth really improves there, probably Bangladesh has got a better chance of providing the support, the RMG sector, the leather sector. Although employment in these countries may not grow at the same pace, this upturn in the global economy will have positive impact on Bangladesh economy as its demand for exports of the RMGs, leather and ICT and services other originate from these countries. As the economy of Bangladesh continues to grow in the coming years, it is already in the 7+ club, as you all know, there will be ample scope of attracting foreign direct investment to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is improving in its doing business index, as already argued by Arif, though at a very slow pace. It has been improving in the areas of setting up a new business, thanks to one-stop services provided by BIDA and related agencies, as just was vindicated by Rafiq. Obtaining electric connection faster due to digitization and human capital improvement, improved access to credit information, and overall improvement in digital financing operations. However, the tax policies and the digitization of revenue collections have remained much slower than expected, and we have to improve that. In addition, registering properties, enforcement of contracts, resolving insolvency remain archaic and give a lot of pains to the investors, and we are working on that, and BIDA is also working on it, and we hope to improve the situations here. Moreover, regulatory delivery needs deserve to improve. We got to make every operation much more simpler. Need of the hour is simplification of business processes, improve overall automation for the efficiency and transparency, go for risk-based approval and inspection system, develop integrated online information portal for investors, which BIDA is trying and has done some, review and update policy framework to live up to the expectations of the investors, particularly our NRBs, because they are our ambassador, brand ambassadors. So if they are happy, I'm sure they will tell that story to others as well. And as Rafiq Khan or Sajjad Rashid has mentioned, airport is an area which deserves to be looked at. It is like first love, if you really find a welcoming airport, you can always expect a country to welcome you. So despite all these challenges, we must be looking forward and ahead and enhance our ambitions, accelerating our journey towards prosperity. We must not forget that the future will be all about digitization and e-commerce. So keep the focus on there. I know the SMEs and the related innovations will be key to macroeconomic success. The role of the private sector will be pivotal in attaining inclusive growth. Linking higher education with industry in the context of fourth industrial revolution will be crucial. So we also should keep that in mind. The modernization and mechanization of agriculture will have to be continuously pursued, and we are doing that. There is no escape from smart urbanization for sustainable progress. Our urbanization has to be much smarter. Potential as regional trade hub must be utilized. Harnessing regional connectivity for higher growth must continue. We must further integrate into the local, regional, and global value chain so that we can become one of most forward-looking destination for investors. Fiscal policy reforms will have to be our top priority. Today our top tax GDP ratio is not even 10%. I think we should really aim at it 20%. For that, business ought to facilitate it and not harassed. Expand the tax net as fast as possible. Governance must be ensured for social justice and pro-people growth. Ease of doing business must be improved, and BIDA is trying hard to improve it, and we see some results already.
Thank you.
Consumption inequality is still under control. Income inequality is slightly wide. So we must be also looking at that, and income inequality must be better managed. Growth process must be green to cope with the climate change and the pandemic. Our Prime Minister is a champion of the earth, And as you have seen, day before yesterday, she has been arguing for $100 billion climate fund and other green issues. She is a champion of the green growth, and we hope that we will remain focused on our green growth and care for the nature. No doubt, pro-people leadership has worked as the driving force for this transformation of Bangladesh. Bangladesh story is indeed very, very impressive, and much has changed and more will change soon, inshallah. Indeed, leadership really matters. Bangladesh's trajectory had changed away from paradigm of poverty, despite otherwise predicted by many development pundits. They thought Bangladesh was a basket case or a case in development, a test case in development, but they have been all proved. But this is no miracle. It is a success story based on visionary public policy, and we must remain focused on this. Can I take one more minute? Just finally, implementing infrastructure projects to attract investment and create employment opportunities must be our top priority. The policies are well set from the top. Accelerated implementation remains a major challenge. However, mega projects like Padma Bridge, Metro Rail, Kornafuli Tunnel, Matarabari Deep Sea Port, Bangabandhu Industrial Park, and other special economic zones are becoming visible. These infrastructures will be game changers in attracting both foreign and local investments, leading to greater growth and employment opportunities. But last, no complacence. Bangladesh must vow to reach new heights, not alone, but together with our development partners and, of course, very, very competent and forward-looking NRBs like a caravan. Let's move on. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. By your keynote speech, we have been truly inspired, very informative, and we always inspired by your speech. Thank you so much. A bit long, but still we enjoyed so much. Thank you so much once again, sir. Now I would like to move on, because as our executive chairman was very much concerned about investors. And we have here a number of investors from many different countries. So if we get permission from our chair of the session today, Honorable Shihazul Islam, then I can give 2-3 investors, and then I can move on, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So we have here from Malaysia, a very distinguished business entrepreneur, Dato Edward Square. He is a former, secretary, defense secretary, Dato Edward Square from Malaysia, to deliver his speech.
It's excellent to see all of you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on this program. I'd also like to introduce a fellow participant, Professor John Chacko, who is the president of the International Advertising Association. Welcome, Professor John, to join us. I see there is a lot of opportunities. What we see here is that coming from the Malaysian angle, we see that there should be more interaction, more programs to inculcate collaboration between not only Malaysia, but Malaysia comes from the ASEAN region, and we believe that from the ASEAN region we have a fantastic opportunity to collaborate cohesively and dynamically. So I would like to thank Professor Masood for this opportunity to join this program, and also my other good friend from Bangladesh, Farzana Sultana, who has invited me to come on board. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, thank you very much for this opportunity to be part of this wonderful assembly of eminent personality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again. Now, may I call upon Miss Nicole Mao from China, who studied in Harvard University. Miss Nicole Mao.
Yes, thank you, Professor Masood Khan, for inviting me. And I'm so glad to hear those insights from investing in Bangladesh from our honorable leaders and speakers. So as Professor mentioned, I'm graduating from Harvard University this year. I'm double major in business administration and public policy, focused on urban planning. Before Harvard, I worked a lot with the Chinese government, like Shanghai government, Beijing government, and the Shenzhen government in economic zone planning. So I'm so excited when I come to Bangladesh, know about BIDA, know about Bangladesh's economic zone planning. And by witness all this, I think it's really a great opportunity to invest in Bangladesh and to work with BIDA. So today I would like to hear more about how to work with BIDA and how to have more available resources for foreign investors. And so hopefully I can really do like social impacts to contribute to the community in Bangladesh and the economy, and to attract more young professionals and young talents to work and invest in Bangladesh, and like to tell the outside world about my stories as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now with this, Miss Yue Zhu is here, and the speaker.
Yeah. So first of all, we are very happy to be here, and as Nicole mentioned, we are very honored to be invited to this meeting. And I just want to add one more thing, is that a lot of people ask us why, as Harvard graduates, you have all the privilege to go everywhere in the world, and every country will open their door to welcome your investment. Why do you want to come to Bangladesh? I want to let these people know, other than the economic growth of Bangladesh and the impressive economic development, we love the friendly and welcoming people here. I have 100% confidence in the development of Bangladesh.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Yue. Thank you so much for appreciating. Thank you. Now, may I call upon Ms. Stapleton from Ireland, United Kingdom. Mr. Stapleton.
Assalamualaikum, everybody. Hello to His Excellency, honourable guests, and I'm honoured. Thank you, Professor Nazat, for inviting me today. I'm very honoured for that. I would like to say that I've been going to Bangladesh for the last 10 years. Except for the last 2 years, of course, well, except for last year with COVID, it was impossible. And when I first went there in 2010 to help start a business, a company called Forever, that's around for 42 years. We're in 169 countries. Japan, His Excellency, be delighted to hear, is #1. India is #4. And my dream is to have Bangladesh to become #1. I work in the health and wellness sector, and I love to teach, especially women, to build their personal development. I like to help people with their health and their wellness, and to help people develop an income as well. So, which is good for the economy in Bangladesh. And it's great that we can interact with the 169 countries around the world, meet together globally, and build the economies, build people. And that's what I love. But I fell in love with the Bangladesh people, and I'm hoping to someday, with this time permitting with COVID and everything, I'm hoping to someday, with the help of my colleagues over there, to start an orphanage, especially for girls. So that's one of my dreams, and to come true. But I started, my protege, Ruma Ahmed, brought me to Bangladesh when the company just opened there, and we're still we're still having baby steps and a few problems that I was delighted to hear that BBF and BIDA are going to work on those things. So I'm absolutely thrilled to hear that. So congratulations, and looking forward, and all the work that you're doing. And no doubt Bangladesh is a lovely country, and this will help put Bangladesh really on the map.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Blayton. Thank you so much. Now, another speaker is a young leader, young entrepreneur. As I told Nagot, you all know Nagot, the entrepreneur, the founder of Nagot, visionary, Mr. Tanveer Mishuk, will speak. Your time is 4 minutes. Mr. Tanveer Mishuk.
Thank you. Honorable Chair guest, Honorable Minister, Chair, special guest of honor, and other guests, Assalamu alaikum. I just want to share some of my experience because last 12 years I am working with many foreign investors. So I have the opportunity to work with tech giant like Google, Facebook, Microsoft. So I just want to share some my experience with you, and especially I want to focus these things to BIDA and BBF because they are working on the manufacturing thing. But I want to actually raise some issues that you might need to focus on these things also. I just want to say that BIDA is currently focusing on the manufacturing thing, but last month also I was talking with one tech giant, and just in a fun I asked why you guys are coming to the payment, because Facebook, you are launching Facebook Pay, Amazon is launching Amazon Pay, and WhatsApp is also focusing on the payment. Why guys are you focusing on payment? Because there are other payment partners, the traditional bank, Master, Visa, they are working on the payment. So why guys are you coming to this sector again? And also they are actually buying the small e-commerce sector recently. If you see the recent trend, even in the pandemic situation, they bought many e-commerce and payment site in India. So they told me the one special things, one example, you all will feel that. Like before, the main business of Google, Facebook is the data. You all know that. So currently, like I every day go to Norton for a coffee. So my PS, who is actually getting 25,000 taka salary, he is also going to the Norton for the coffee. So when they collect the data, like the Facebook or Google, they say they actually saw these two guys both are going to the Norton for a coffee. It's 200 taka coffee. And I am also using the iPhone. My PS also using the iPhone. So they cannot actually segment those people. So like if Facebook think they want to show a ad of Range Rover or Mercedes, they actually targeting people like us. But the problem of this, that my PS also using iPhone and he is also going to the Norton. So they cannot segment this. So now all this tech giant actually focusing, because this traditional method, the old method is currently not working, because their main business is data business. They want to sell this data for the big company and they take earn money from that. That all you know, the Facebook, Google, everything is free, WhatsApp. So their business is there. So now they are moving to payment because they want to actually track your buying pattern. That's why the Amazon Pay is coming to the India. Facebook also thinking of these things. So next big opportunity is Bangladesh. So now they are actually thinking to buy Bangladeshi payment what should I say, payment processor, or they will actually launch the payment. They are also buying the e-commerce because from the e-commerce data, they actually track people buying things, buying habit. So otherwise, now their data is not that much efficient. So I want to request BIDA to they can also focus on not only the manufacturing sector, but also focus on this service sector. Like in the fourth revelation, with the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and his advisor, Soji Bajajan, we actually doing better than many developed countries. In three revolution, industrial revolution, we didn't actually get that mark, but in fourth revolution, we are doing very good. And also the foreign companies are actually looking to coming on this sector, especially the e-commerce sector, the payment sector, the service sector. So BIDA should also open a wings and actually guide us to how to actually present our country, our regulation, because they actually, to me actually, it's not about your idea, not about your people. It's all about your country branding and how country regulate and how actually present your business environment to the foreign. So I will request BIDA to actually focus on the service sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tanveer Mishuk, for your short but good speech. Thank you so much. Now I move on to the special guest. As I told, very humble, very down to earth. And whenever I call, Your Excellency, you have to attend there. he never said no. This is none other than the Ambassador of Japan, His Excellency Naoki Ito. Your Excellency, please deliver a speech as very special guest today.
Thank you very much, Professor Masood Khan. So I'm so honored to have this opportunity. So honorable chief guest, Mr. M.A. Manan, Minister of Planning, Dr. Atiur Rahman, former governor of Bangladesh Bank, Mr. Sirazul Islam, executive chairman of BIDA. Respective participants, Assalamu alaikum, Shibo Shonda, and good evening and good morning, I should say. So no doubt Bangladesh is a very attractive nation for foreign investment. And no doubt that Bangladesh will be the fastest growing country in this decade in Asia. And as has been already touched upon, Bangladesh has a strategic location linking Asia and ASEAN and China. So it has a very, very important location economically, politically, strategically. And there is a very, very high expectation on Bangladesh because Bangladesh has rich human resources and high growth rate, as well as high growth potentials. If I may talk a little bit about the Japan-Bangladesh economic partnership, this year we have 321 Japanese companies operating here in Bangladesh. And compared to the figure of 10 years ago, this number has been actually quadrupled. And the amount of investment from Japan to Bangladesh is still not very big. So it was $60 million in fiscal year 19. But compared to 10 years ago, the figure has been tripled. And I'm sure that there is a big room for these FDIs coming from Japan to Bangladesh will grow. And actually, when you look at the Japanese investment into Asia, 50 to 60% of Japanese investment into Asia are going to ASEAN countries. But if you can divert 1% of Japanese investment into ASEAN, that will be approximately 200 million to 300 million US dollars. So I think that is a kind of amount of investment. If we can get hold of coming to Bangladesh, that would really change the landscape of Japan-Bangladesh investment partnership. And that is something I'm really looking forward to achieving. Last year, unfortunately, because of coronavirus situation, I would say most of the Japanese companies' representatives went back to Japan, but 70%, 80% of them have returned. So this year, it's a really important year for us to step up this partnership, economic partnership between Japan and Bangladesh. And in particular, during Corona pandemic period, vulnerability of supply chain was sort of highlighted. So I think not only for Japanese companies, but those companies in Asia are going to diversify the source of supplies of, say, materials, intermediary goods, final products. So once this pandemic situation improves and subsidizes, I'm sure that it will be a great opportunity for Bangladesh to attract more foreign direct investments. In relation to Corona pandemic, I want to raise one point. That is the importance of vaccination, or providing opportunities for vaccination for all the expats working for business with working permit. So still those expats are not eligible for vaccination. So hopefully BIDA will work on this very important topic right now so that all the expats working for business with working permit will be able to have an opportunity for inoculation sooner rather than later. I really would like to emphasize that the policy direction, visions, and planning of the future development of this economy has been in the right direction. So this, I think, a story has been already mentioned by our presenter and other previous speakers. I'm not going to into detail of this, but Vision 2041, this one-stop service, ease of doing business, and so forth. But what I want to emphasize is this year, it's really important. We really need to accelerate those efforts and policy implementation towards those policy objectives and visions and plans. So once a pandemic goes away, so we really need to focus our efforts in a very consolidated and coordinated effort. I think that is something we are really required to do this year. I would like to talk about 3 points, which I think are very important to continue to address to see the, I think, better road of development by Bangladesh. And I think most of the points have been already mentioned, but the first point I want to mention is the importance of Bangladesh being regional hub of connectivity and regional hub of economic growth. I had a chance to attend these twin celebrations in the second half of March, namely birth centenary of Bangabandhu, as well as a 50 years anniversary of independence of this country. And 5 leaders of this region attended a series of wonderful celebrations in 10 days. But that clearly highlighted that the Bangladesh is now in a position to host regional diplomacy. And Bangladesh has become, or getting to become, the regional hub of connectivity. In each one of the bilateral meetings Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had, she talked about the importance of connectivity, regional connectivity, not only with Indian Prime Minister, but also with leaders from Maldives and Sri Lanka and Nepal, so everybody. So it is clearly showing that now Bangladesh is becoming a regional hub of connectivity. And this is a key to connect India and ASEAN with Bangladesh being the hub. And if Bangladesh can develop being a regional hub and maintaining the prosperity and stability of Bay of Bengal, I think that will lead to the creation of free and open Indo-Pacific. I think this is very important element Bangladesh needs to continue to work on. This is the point number 1. And point number 2 is, this is the point actually Dr. Atiu Rama mentioned, but infrastructure development. Stable infrastructure development is very, very important. Dr. Atiu Rama mentioned MLT. I think Line 6 will be able to have a partial opening by the end of the year. And actually, rolling stock, the carriage of the Line 6 arrived in Dhaka a couple of days ago. And if you look at the amount of ODA Japan provided, the last fiscal year of Japan, which ended in the end of March, Bangladesh became the largest recipient of Japanese ODA, which stands at 3.5 billion US dollars. So the Bangladesh became the #1 recipient of Japanese ODA. That clearly demonstrates that Japan's commitment to infrastructure building of this country, particularly to see the realization of the Big B concept, Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Belt, which was launched by 2 leaders back in 2014. The Japanese government supports the Bangladesh government policy, which is to develop quality infrastructure towards the future. One thing I should draw your attention is the importance of the sustainability of debt. Debt sustainability is a very, very important element when you look at infrastructure development. So I'm in full agreement with the way Bangladesh government is focusing on the important infrastructure, necessary infrastructure, which is economically viable, which is very important to bring Bangladesh towards the future. So so far, Bangladesh has been controlling itself, not be bogged down in this debt sustainability, and not to choose unnecessary project. So I think this cautious, prudent attitude towards infrastructure is very, very important for the midterm to long-term growth, as well as to maintain the attractiveness of development. But if Bangladesh can become regional hub of connectivity, and if Bangladesh achieve steady infrastructure development, I would say that the image or perception on Bangladesh would really change. I think that is a very important effort this government and people and the company need to continue to do. The last element, which I think important, is the improvement in business environment. I would say regulatory reform. An important thing is to take care of the needs of those foreign companies which are active, which are already operational in this country. So if those issues and challenges are taken care of, then those existing companies will expand its business operations, and also those potential investors in foreign countries will see Bangladesh better opportunities. And I must say that over the last 1 year, during COVID period, Bangladesh government has done really wonderful job. So they have really resolved important challenges and issues which Japanese companies had 1 year ago. Although there are some issues, remaining issues, but issues like parent company loans on working capital, or loyalty remittance restriction, or the dual use of container between port and SEZ, and also the reduction of automobile registration fees. Those issues have been resolved. And also I would expect that the BIDA will find a good solution for the restrictions on project office operation, as well as repatriation by branch offices. But there are a couple of symbolic issues which I would like to see the quick resolution. One is the restrictions on the telegraphic transfer when it comes to the this methodology to settle the trade account. So still in this country, LC is a main method of settlement. But TT, telegraph transfer, is still subject to some restriction amount as well as other restrictions. In Asia, there are only 2 countries where LC is a main methodology of settlement of trade account. One is Bangladesh and another is Pakistan. So this is a very, very symbolic issue. So if telegraph transfer becomes a main method of settling trade account, I think again, this is a perception issue, image issue. So the foreign investors will look more positively the relationship with Bangladesh. And another symbolic issue is the cash incentives for RMG export to new market. New market is, of course, those markets except North America and Europe. So the markets in Asia, including Japan, China, Korea, those are the new markets. But when it comes to cash incentives for RMG export to new market, so-called Type A company is not eligible. Type A company is a 100% foreign-owned company. But joint venture as well as domestic companies are eligible for 4% cash incentive when export RMG products to new market. But as a policy, this doesn't really make sense because idea is to encourage a private business to increase RMG export to new market. Then those companies held by those Asian markets, Asian countries, need to be eligible for this cash incentive. I think those are 2 symbolic issues which I really would like to see the quick solution. One participant asked me a question about Arai Hajao Special Economic Zone, Japanese exclusive economic zone. This is going really well with the cooperation of BESA. And my goal is to make this Arai Hajao Special Economic Zone as the best possible economic zone in Asia. Because obviously Arai Hajao is competing with economic zone in other countries in Asia, the ASEAN countries as well as India. So Arai Hajao needs to be the best possible economic zone in Asia. So government has been working really hard towards that end, but I would say there should be more incentives to be given for potential investors, including corporate tax incentives. But I'm dubbing this $1 billion investment project by 100 Japanese companies. And Arai Hajao will be ready for companies to operate by the end of next year. So I have a high expectation on this Arai Hajao project. And once Arai Hajao, starts well, then there will be next Japan exclusive economic zone. That will be Mirshurai and hopefully even in Matabari Island. So there will be the Japan exclusive economic zone. Step by step, the first Arai Hajao, then Mirshurai, then other. I think that is what I think to develop a Japan exclusive economic zone. And one more chance is here. That is the possible investment by a Japanese company into automobile sector. One Japanese automobile company, Mitsubishi, is now considering to make investment to set up a CKD manufacturing plant in Bangladesh in close cooperation with Ministry of Industry. So they are now about to sign MOU to start the joint feasibility study on viability to set up a CKD plant here in Bangladesh. But once this is done, this is going to be the first investment by a Japanese auto manufacturer on CKD plant, which would provide this large amount of investment, as well as to ensure the technological transfer to this country in this very, very important sector of industrialization. So I will stop here, but before concluding, there are some other challenges for the future. One issue is the issue of airport, but I would say this customs clearance, both airport as well as port, this is going to be, I think, a long-term challenge for this country. Time as well as cost for customs clearance needs to be improved. And also FTA, CEPA, beyond this LDC graduation, I do really hope that government will take a very aggressive policy to conclude FTA and EPAs. That would ensure the long-term success of FDI encouragement, as well as to enhance trade relations with major trading partners in the region and beyond. So thank you very much. And I look forward to continuing to work closely with BIDA and other government organizations. And I must say that the planning minister has been playing a very, very important role for this infrastructure development. I must thank planning minister for his wonderful effort and cooperation taking this opportunity. And at the very end, I would like to congratulate on the MOU concluded between BBF and BIDA. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I salute you. I'm moved by, I'm truly impressed by your very lucid speech, Your Excellency, as you always do. Before I was talking to the Honorable Minister, and he was appreciating your speech, your leadership, your personality. Thank you so very much. Especially you mentioned about Bangladesh. So many important things, regional hub of connectivity. You have pointed out so many important things, especially you have highlighted Bangladesh's image is getting in different perspective. Like there is a perception that Bangladesh is a country of poverty, a country of so many negativity. But this country is going to be the, as said, bull case. So thank you so very much, Your Excellency. And under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we call her a magic woman because one single lady running this whole country, any single small thing, she take care. So Honorable Prime Minister, I salute her. Excellency, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. She has drawn the attention of the entire world by her excellent leadership. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your beautiful, lucid speech. Thank you once again. Now, I would like to call up today's very distinguished chief guest, and again, very humble, down to the earth, and a personality whom I always been inspired by him. His Excellency, Bangladesh, Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. M. Mannan. Sir, if you deliver a speech. Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, His Excellency, M. Mannan.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Professor Masood, thank you very much for your kind introduction. I would like to begin by thanking all the distinguished guests spread almost all over the world, East and West, and also in the European continent. It's a very important issue of investment. That's an ongoing thing in all economies. Even the advanced economy like Japan or the US, they also need investments to keep going into the future. And for a country like Bangladesh, which is at a very critical stage of growth, just coming out of poverty into lower middle income region now, globally, we have a very strong and very large need for investment, both domestic as well as overseas. All we can do in the government is that we can create situations where things will improve on the ground so that our investors, both from inside and outside, and let me be very clear about it. All investors are welcome here. Domestic investors, overseas investors, everyone must be given due importance. So we have to make our grounds clear within the country. And here is the point that I would like to emphasize is that we have to make things simple, make things easy, make things smooth for investors. I must admit, we have many rules and regulations which are not very conducive to, and not very friendly also, particularly to the new investors, people who don't know our country very well. So these issues need to be kept in sight by our government. The present government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been working very hard in cutting all the red tapes and as far as possible, but we are still not there where we want to be. Particularly when we go and consider this matter of ease of doing business, we can see that there's a lot to be done. So what I need to say is that, yes, we have just entered the threshold of middle income economy. We have a long way to go, and we have to work very hard. We have to work very hard, and we have to see that we are with the world, not beyond the world. That is very important because following our independence and our desire to become a modern economy, what we need now is that we have to connect ourselves with the countries that are on the march forward, not stay away. So this is an important point. Our Prime Minister is very forward-looking. She's very liberal about her attitude towards modern systems, and she very much would like to see that we come out of this poverty trap that we had been for hundreds of years almost, and we achieve a better living standards for our people, and also we are able to join the advanced economies and try to sort of complement or supplement, as you would like to see, the economic activities of the larger economies, so that we all end up in a win-win situation for everyone. My job today here was to listen to all of you, which I think I have done patiently. There has been a lot of very significant comments. I can't name everyone and go by every point because the time is quite already late. We have been here almost 2 hours. I would like to thank particularly His Excellency Ambassador Naoki ITO, good friend of ours, Ambassador of Japan. He was very forthright in his statement, and he mentioned some very significant areas of cooperation between his country and ours. He was very happy about Arai Hazar Economic Zone, and he even said that he would like to see this to be the best economic zone that he can think of. Fantastic! I thank you for that. I can assure you that from our side. Arai Hazar Economic Zone? Someone has said, okay, fine.
Yes,
so
sir.
we would like to assure him that we would like to provide all assistance in this regard. And like in other cases also, Japan has been, at this moment, the largest overseas investor, largest development partner, as you say, and Japan is, as it is culturally also very well integrated with our people. We know Japan for hundreds of years. So in that light, I think our cooperation and friendship will grow in the years to come, and both countries will benefit. Our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, had visited Japan right after independence, I think in the year 1972. And the first assurance of our Bangabandhu Jamuna Bridge was at that time, Japanese government assured him that they would send a team for feasibility studies. And that was done. And from there, we built up on this present Bangabandhu Bridge. And the East-West Interconnector, that's another landmark project, was implemented by our Japanese friends, which brought the two lines, power grids between the other side of Jamuna and eastern side, and we got together as a country as a whole. So these are very important areas we can cooperate with Japan. He mentioned about Mitsubishi's interest in auto manufacturing in this country, and he also was very forthright about difficulties of customs clearance. I quite agree with him, although I don't feel very happy about the situation. It's one of the burning issues that has been causing a lot of pains for our overseas investors, even for our own people. So I'm sure our government will take note of these things, and we keep on improving the situation in the days to come. Our government's man in this business of overseas investment, Mohammad Sirajul Islam, who is the executive chairman of BIDA, that is the agency where all things happening with regard to investment. So he has been patiently chairing this session, and I'm sure he has taken note of, and he's the director who presented a very detailed paper. So BIDA will naturally be fully engaged with our investment situations, and I'm sure BIDA and BBF cooperation will grow in the years to come, and BBF has a very strong network, it appears to me, all over the world in building our image, in branding Bangladesh, as they say. So I wish them further more and more success in this very important but very difficult business of branding a country like ours. We are sure about the difficulties that they face, but I can assure Professor Masood that all his points of interactions in New York, in the UK, in Thailand, in Singapore, wherever they are, the government of Bangladesh will provide necessary assistance and necessary support in their efforts to promote our country. I don't have much more to say. All I need to repeat again is that the government of Bangladesh is ready for doing business. we have our arms open, and we have our BIDA also working full time, including the OSS, one-stop service. I hope it succeeds, because I'm rather cynical about this. I must be truthful. I've been hearing about OSS all these years, for the last 40, 45 years, but somehow it didn't really become one-stop. So I hope it's better now than it was 30 or 20 years before. I hope under the leadership of Sirajul Islam, the few remaining bottlenecks will be cleared and one-stop service will operate really like a one-stop service. I wish BIDA more success in the days to come. So Professor Masood, thank you once again, and thanks to all of your colleagues for giving me this honor of sharing my time with you, and also hearing all your respected participants in this evening's discussion. I must also mention my good friend Professor Atur Rahman, ex-governor of Bangladesh Bank, who gave very detailed sort of overview of the investment situation in Bangladesh, and his recommendations were very specific about how we can move things towards a better situation. Thank you, Professor Masood. Thanks to everybody, and good evening.
Thank you, sir. Please accept my highest gratitude, sir, for your inspiration, because we are inspired, truly inspired by your speech, as BBF global team is highly inspired by your speech, as always. Now I'd like to call upon the chair of the session today, and very distinguished, very eminent executive chairman of BIDA, who is always supporting us, BBF. The civil society engagement is pretty much important in today's world, and he is doing it. And BBF and BIDA, the partnership by his leadership, Honorable Executive Chairman of BIDA, Mr. Sirajul Islam. Sir, please deliver your speech.
Thank you, Professor Masood. I believe I'm audible.
Sir, you're audible very much.
Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. M. Mannan, MP, Minister for Planning. His Excellency, Mr. Naoki ITO, Ambassador of Japan, Dr. Atir Rahman, former Governor of Bangladesh Bank and Bangabandhu Chair, Dhaka University. Professor Masood Khan, President, Better Bangladesh Foundation, distinguished panelists, participants, potential investors, Assalamu alaikum, and good evening and good morning, respectively, wherever you are. We have been listening to the eminent speaker for almost 2 hours. And the Honorable Chief Guest mentioned, yes, I was listening and I was taking notes of. Because that's my job, I think, as Executive Chairman BIDA, to listen to the investors, listen to the facilitators of investment, and trying to help the investment process in the country. And in BIDA, what we are doing, in fact, we try to attract investment, facilitate and promote investment, both local and foreign investment. It started, the process started before the actual investment. Then we try to facilitate the investment process as it happens during the actual investment. And also we provide aftercare services to the investors, both local and foreign investors. And that aftercare services is, in most cases, providing policy support to the investors, rather bargaining with the government on behalf of the private investors. Tonight, saw a video that was prepared by BIDA. This is a sort of general investment scenario that is available in Bangladesh. And we try to capture all the salient features of investment in Bangladesh in this video. And the presentation done by our director that also covers some of the sectors that are attractive for foreign investment. I must thank Dr. Atir Rahman for bringing in all the aspects of strength and potential of Bangladesh for foreign investment. I think he filled up the gaps that was there in the presentation from BIDA. He covered everything. I don't want to repeat all those things because that was quite very inclusive, everything he mentioned. I thank Mr. Masude Khan for bringing in some of the potential investors in this webinar, because in fact, I was rather emphasizing on this to involve some of the potential investors, because the very purpose of this webinar is to attract foreign investment. So BIDA and BBF, we got engaged through an MEU, and we can talk to ourselves. That doesn't really help promoting Bangladesh, because most of the BBF member and BIDA members, we all know our country. I know that some of the NRBs, they are doing business outside the country for long. They may not be knowing all that are happening in Bangladesh at the moment. So that's all right. But besides that, if we can invite some of other potential investors, that might help. I must thank Mr. Rafiq Khan, especially because he shared his personal experience. Last week, perhaps, he was in Bangladesh. He left Bangladesh last week when this second wave of corona just picked up. He was here and he left Bangladesh. I'm really sorry that I could not meet him personally. We talked, and his good experience about the OSS, particularly, Sir, Planning Minister, Sir, OSS in BIDA, it is really, really one-stop service, sir. So far, I can guarantee the services provided by BIDA itself, those are excellent. It is really, really one-stop service. And you don't need to come to my office at all for getting the services provided by BIDA to the investors. Wherever you are sitting, you can sit back in New York or in Tokyo or Thailand, wherever you are. You can log into the BIDA OSS and you can get the services of BIDA. In the presentation, my director pointed out that 41 services have been integrated with BIDA OSS platform, but his data is a little old. We have another 6 services integrated already. We are providing 47 services which are live. You can get these services online from anywhere in the globe. And we are working very seriously on this OSS because I believe that actual ease of doing business, what we mean by ease of doing business, is possible only when we can provide these services hassle-free fast, and transparent. That's what my personal belief also. And institutionally, we are believing in it, and we are working towards this very strong platform for providing services to our investors, both local and the foreign investors, the existing investors and also the potential investors. I noted the suggestion by Mr. Rafiq Khan. He was telling about services in the airport. You know that we have a VIP lounge already in Dhaka Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport, BIDA Chamili Lounge. But to use this VIP lounge, because it is managed by the airport authority, but if you just can give us a prior information that you are coming with foreign investors, we can arrange the use of that VIP lounge, and we can also facilitate the incoming potential foreign investors finding the transportation, hotels, and as you mentioned, the hospitals. All these things BIDA can definitely facilitate for the potential investors. That's what we are doing, in fact. So, but we need sort of prior information so that we can make this arrangement. We have one officer working in the airport, but he remains over there. But if a bigger delegation comes, then we can depute some other officer so that he can remain attached with the delegation so long they stay in Bangladesh. And he will be welcoming the delegation and also seeing off. So that's what we are doing, in fact. Perhaps many of the people do not know about it. I must thank Excellency Naoki ITO-san. You were very explicit, very detailed, and I took note of all you suggested. And yes, and also the Honorable Chief Guest, he mentioned that yes, there are room for more reforms in our rules and regulations. Sir, BIDA is working with the government, but let me, sir, tell you this, it's not a very easy job. It's a very, very tough job to get the government offices moved for any reform. You worked in the government machinery, sir. I worked in the government machinery in the mainstream, but now I am working in a different capacity, but I find it really, really very, very tough. But things are moving. That's what I can assure you. I can assure all the participants that things are moving. The ease of doing business is getting on its way. And I believe that in the coming years, our ranking in the World Bank ease of doing business ranking will improve. This year, they did not publish the ranking. I was told that it would have been published last month. Even this month, it was not published anyway. But in the next October, there will be one report, and we are going to submit many reforms by 30th of April. And I believe that our ranking from 168, which is not very good, but I'm sure it will be improved a lot. Though not up to my expectation, because I was expecting much more improvement, but as I mentioned, it's not that very easy. So I'm happy that things are moving. And, you know, for ease of doing business, there are two very high-powered committee working. One National Steering Committee headed by the Honorable Finance Minister. He said at least twice last year. And another committee headed by the Cabinet Secretary. He convened the meeting for 4 or 5 times. So we took this ease of doing business as a very serious matter. And the reforms that the Excellency mentioned, many of the recommendation from the Japanese investors through the Excellency Ambassador, BIDA took initiative, and BIDA could make many of the reforms. And some definitely is something, there is no end of reform. So reforms is going on, and but the remaining things will be, I believe, taken care of. The telegraphic transfer in another webinar, I think, in a roadshow with Japanese investors, the Excellency Ambassador mentioned it, and I believe that Bangladesh Bank is working on this telegraphic transfer. Maybe that will also be possible. So I don't like to take any more time. Thank you, BBF, for organizing this very important webinar at a very critical time. We would love to have this webinar, have this workshop or seminar physically, had there been no pandemic. But this pandemic also helped us in the sense that we could link so many people from different parts of the globe. This is also a sort of opportunity created by this pandemic. So thank you very much. I believe that BIDA and BBF can get engaged in future for more webinars, and I would rather suggest that this webinar should be more focused. Focused, I mean, maybe country or region specific, rather than including of the whole planet. If it is for a particular country or particular region, and we can bring in more potential investors, that could be more effective. This is what I think. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And I thank the Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Planning Minister, for attending this webinar. And sir, you spent the whole 2 hours with us. Thank you, sir, for bearing with us. I thank the Excellency Ambassador of Japan, Mr. Naoki ITO, Dr. Atiur Rahman, and all other guests who spoke and who listened. And I must also thank my colleagues from BIDA, who in fact arranged this webinar with BBF, because there are some works, we are now doing it a little more structured way. And we have to have some documentation for doing this thing. So thanks to my colleague from BIDA, and also thanks to all the members of BBF who joined from different cities of different countries. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful speech, and you have given some guideline in particular, which is pretty much important, because our BBF Global, the team leaders, they actually want to have some guidelines from you, because you are heading the
Mr.
BBF.
Masood, just a few seconds. I just forgot to mention Mr. Tanbir Mashouk from Nagar.
Yeah.
He thinks that BIDA is working only with manufacturing. That's not true. BIDA works with all sort of investment. We are also open for service investment. In fact, we are also working with e-commerce, ECAP Bangladesh. ECAP, we are working with ECAP. And I invite Mr. Mishuk to BIDA so that we can work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there will be a small session because we ran out of time, only 5-6 minutes, because there are some other investors, very, very prospective investors whom we could not allow to speak. So few more questions we can take, sir, if you allow. Honorable Chair, if you allow.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Mr. Habibur Rahman from Germany. Mr. Habib, please, in 1-2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Masood. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Very specific, very quick. Yeah.
Let me introduce just 1 minute my introduction. I am Mohammad Habibur Rahman. I'm an international project manager of one German civil consulting firm. Right now, I am doing a project with GIZ Finance project. It is held, the project is in Iraq. So this is a hospital project, the German grant project. So I'm, as a Bangladeshi, I'm the only one who is working in my company. And I'm really looking forward that what is the Better Foundation, Better Bangladesh Foundation is doing in Bangladesh. They're trying to attract the investor. So I really love to work from the German side because I'm working with GIZ. I'm also know all this financer, for example, World Bank, KfW Bank, German financer. So in future, if Better Bangladesh Foundation needs some guidance from a German part, I would love to help. And I heard the, sorry for late because I got a little bit confusion about the time. I thought it is 10 p.m. in Bangladesh time. So I just heard the BIDA's chairman's speech. It is quite specific. And I support that his proposal to arrange more webinar with country-wise, like a German investor, maybe German GIZ, KfW, or some other German potential investor. In future, I hope Better Bangladesh Foundation and with me as well, I would like to create more webinar in German side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Mahbub Rahman from Malaysia. Mr. Mahbub, yeah. Mahbub Alam, yeah.
Ramzan Mubarak, Assalamu alaikum.
One question, yeah.
The question is actually the question particularly to the Honorable Minister and the Honorable BIDA
Chairman. Or
regarding the FTA matter, that is Bangladesh working on maybe 15 or 14 countries with different aspects of different other countries. So what is the that means outcome till now is coming, that means there is any the further proceed to going on with these 15 countries until and when these things is concluded. So we are very much waiting for with Malaysia also, that is very soon will be going. But I would like to know, that means through by the chairman of BIDA and our honorable ministers to get into these questions to this matter. And besides that, some other questions I would like to ask, but our honorable excellency from Japan, the Naoki ITO, he is like a experienced business person and business investor person. He makes all the details to you. So I already get the answer also from you. So only for particular that purpose, I would like to, so that is my question. And besides that, I introduce so many business people and investors in Bangladesh from Malaysia, as I am the director of Bangladesh Malaysia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And our one partner, he already invests in Bangladesh, that means Caring International. Dr. Gunalam also in this.
Is he here? Okay.
He's in here. So he will be tell you something also.
Then call up, yeah. Dr. Guna is here? Okay.
Dr. Gunalam.
Yeah.
Here, so kindly that is.
Yeah, okay, then, yeah, may I call upon Dr. Dato Gunalam?
Good evening. Good evening.
Our Honorable Executive Chairman BIDA is here, so you can ask any question.
Yeah.
As investor.
Honorable Chairman and the Minister, and also the Chairman of BIDA, and my good friend, the Director of BIDA, Mr. Arif. Very helpful friend from the beginning. 2014, I'm in Bangladesh up to now. He's very helpful all the time. So I'm personal experience in Bangladesh. I travel 64 districts in Bangladesh, and then I develop the people in Bangladesh. So most information already given by the chairman and also the directors and everybody. Just now that one of the investors commenting, BIDA must concern also look at the look at the service industry. I am doing the service industry past 2 years, pandemic time. We have developed not educated high-level people.
Dr. Guna, one question, because we have run out of time. So please, one question, please.
Yeah, okay. One question is that for the service industry, how that BIDA will help that one-stop center, which I visited BIDA many times. The one-stop center, they say when online. I mean, online we can get it, not a problem. But when people visit BIDA office, I hope that the BIDA office will put up the one-stop center in the ground floor of the BIDA office with some good officers, and then to help the foreigners to come there. All the languages written, not only Bangladesh language, but also in English for the people to come and approach all the people which department to go. This will help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Guna. Now, Honorable Executive Chairman, yes, please.
Thank you. Let me respond to three of the potential investors. Engineer Habibur Rahmani. It's good that we can have a separate webinar for the German potential investors. And let me also tell you that our Excellency Ambassador in Germany, Mr. Musharraf Hussain Bhuiya, he's also very proactive. Mr. Masood, you can perhaps recollect that in one of the webinar, one of the participants, he was rather realizing that the ambassador is not for the public. But he was something else. But I know that Mr. Musharraf Hussain Bhuiya, he's a man who is very, very proactive, as you call, down to earth, or whatever you can.
Absolutely. He's your advisor too.
So I think along with the embassy in Germany and BBF members, we can have a separate webinar in Germany. Mr. Mahbubur Rahman, he asked about the FTA. Yes, it is the Commerce Ministry who is working. Of course, BIDA is also consulted. Commerce Ministry is working on these free trade agreements. And we believe that there can be a FTA with Malaysia and some other countries like Japan. And you know, there are arguments for and against this FTA arrangement. Those who are very keen about export, they are very supportive of FTA. And those who were importing things, or those who are doing business in the local market, they are against the FTA. But we have to find the balance. And with the graduation from LDC, we need to have these agreements with our partner countries. And government is very keen about this. And I believe government will not take longer time anymore to sign these agreements. I think it is going to happen. And Mr. Datu Gun Alam, thank you very much for this suggestion, BIDA. You know that we are going to have our BIDA building completed within next 2 months. Once the building construction is completed, we are thinking of something like that. Maybe in the ground floor, we can arrange something for our investors, not only for foreign investors, even the local investors, they sometimes need different services. The OSS is quite friendly. Still, sometimes people ask question how to use this, and people have questions for different aspects of investment. So thank you very much for your suggestion. We take note of your suggestion, and we'll think how we can implement this. One good news is the export, so Economic Zone Authority, BEZA is coming to our building. So for the investors, at least 2 very important offices will be available under the same roof. So
good news,
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any more question from any of the?
I think, sir, we are run out of time, sir. We cannot allow any more question.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your patience, especially the Executive Chairman BIDA and Honorable Minister, and also the Excellency Ambassador of Japan, and also our very learned keynote speaker today, former Governor of Bangladesh Bank, Dr. Atiur Rahman, and all our BBF leaders, and also the BIDA high officials. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all of you for your patience hearing and making this webinar a real success. Thank you so very much for joining us. The days to come, we'll organize BIDA and BBF will organize more meaningful webinar the days to come. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone invited to